Hello everyone, Ember here, and welcome back to a new video. And in this one, I'd like to take a look at some upcoming Lucario decks from the set Mega Evolution. So, Mega Lucario EX has 340 HP, which is very respectable for a Stage 1 Pokemon this day and age. It's kind of crazy to be honest. But yeah, of course, that Mega Evolution rule does mean that he will be giving up 3 prize cards. But he has 2 really solid attacks. Aura Jab for 1 Fighting Energy does 130, and you get to accelerate 3 basic Fighting Energy cards from your discard pile, to your bench Pokemon in any way you like, which is really handy. Mainly just for like chaining more Lucarios, funnily enough, with these lists. Like, you're not really looking to power up other attackers. Like, I'm sure people will experiment with like Cynthia's Garchomp and stuff upon release, but I think overall, to keep things consistent, I think just Mega Lucario by itself is honestly enough with some support Pokemon, so that's good. Also has the attack of Mega Brave for 2 Fighting Energy, does 270 damage, and during your next turn, this Pokemon can't use Mega Brave, which, to be honest, isn't even that big of a downside, considering you can just follow it up with an Aura Jab. So you will always two-shot something if you're not one-shotting something. So yeah, very powerful attacks. And then it also has weakness to Psychic, which is a little bit rough in this day and age, just because of the whole God of War hype right now. Of course, like God of War is rotating next year, like God of War EX will be. So, like, we don't know what other mega psychic type Pokemon are getting revealed over the coming months. Like, they might reveal some busted mega psychics, but I think overall, like, the weakness is pretty bad right now. But, like, if you can avoid God of War, then weakness is not the end of the world. So, it's not going to be every single matchup. God of War existing doesn't mean Lucario can't do well, I think. So, yeah, that's pretty cool to see. Also has a decent retreat cost of 2, which does mean you can also incorporate Air Balloon into your lists. As for some new cards, we do have Lily's Determination. This card is kind of busted, at least right now in Japan. It's almost a 4 of in most of the decks that I've seen, which is kind of crazy. But shove your hand to your deck, then draw 6 cards. If you have 6 prize cards remaining, draw 8 instead. So it just means if you're not looking to take the first prize card quickly, then you can basically just get away with Shuffle Draw 8. So control decks and like really big tanky decks are going to love this. And you can just like hide behind Budews and stuff. Like not with Mega Lucario, but if you want to use Aura Jab, poke something, accelerate some energy, then of course the Shuffle Draw 8 is really nice. So yeah, it definitely helps with getting set up. Also got this Hariyama, which is really nice. Basically just says when it evolves, you can gust up a Pokemon. So it's like a pseudo boss's orders that can chill on the bench. You can also charge it up with Aura Jab. I've seen some people talk about using reverse energy. There isn't any reverse energy builds in this video, but it's definitely something to consider because it would just cost 1 energy. Wild Press doing 210 is pretty respectable. And then probably the most busted new card for Lucario is actually this Lunatome, which just says if you have Solrock in play, you can discard a Fighting Energy card from your hand to draw 3 cards, which I think is really important for this deck because not only is it a consistent way of getting energy in the discard pile, it's also a great draw engine, and it means you don't have to play Pheasantipity because I think like one of my biggest problems that I encountered like with recording the Venusaur video and talking about Venusaur is your opponent can kind of just ignore Venusaur and like boss KO Ogerpon and Pheasantipity and things, whereas Mega Lucario you can like really force them to either KO these single prize Pokemon or work their way through, Mega Lucario after Mega Lucario. So I do like the idea of having a single prize Pheasantipity personally. So yeah, and it's just for some bench space, right? You need a Solrock, a Lunatome, that's it. So yeah, I think it's pretty respectable. But yeah, this first list here is hyper consistent, just a 4-3 line of Lucario and then a 2-2 Solrock Lunatome. No other support Pokemon, so no other liabilities. Your opponent's definitely going to have to work for those KOs. It is playing for the new item Fighting Gong, which is your like main way of finding basic fighting type Pokemon as well as fighting type energy, which makes it very versatile, of course, for Lunatone as well. You're not playing Precious Trolley as an A-spec, like that's something to consider. Maybe if you want to play more basics, then Precious Trolley's worth it, but to be honest, you only need like one Riolu spare on the bench plus a Solrock and a Lunatone, maybe more in the hand ready to go just in case. But yeah, I think like Precious Trolley is probably not needed in this build. You can just go Fighting Gong, it seems, which is really cool. Also running like the 4 Ultra Ball, 2 Nest Ball, pretty standard stuff. Focusing on Pokegear actually, which is like not really much of a surprise because I guess your draw engine is not super powerful. Like you don't have Dracoloak and Pidgeot and stuff like that to work with, but you still have the discard draw 3, so that's cool to see. Got 4 of the new Premium Power Pro, which is a very strong item. Increases your attack damage by plus 30 for a turn, which is something worth bearing in mind for like Solrock, which attacks with 1 energy and does 70 if you have Lunatone in play. So you could do 100, for example. So that's really cool. Also got heavy counts of Night Stretcher just to get back some Pokemon in case they get KO'd. Also got things like Maximum Belt, which is pretty disgusting. Like you could even take this like a step further and play was it Gravity Mountain? Then you can like one shot all the stage 2 EXs, which is kind of crazy, but yeah, it's definitely there as an option if you really want to do it. But yeah, Maximum Belt, a good ace spec choice, I would say. 2 copies of Lily, 2 Aono, 2 Boss, 2 of the new Ace Roller, which I believe is the one that says like if you have it's like if your opponent has 2 prize cards remaining or less, then like prevent all damage done to your EX Pokemon next turn for a turn or something. It's kind of something along those lines. I didn't think it would be played that much to be honest, but it looks like a really solid option for Lucario. Like Wally's Compassion's pretty good for Venusaur, so like maybe Ace Roller's doing the similar job. Like you're not really looking to out heal and discard your energy, but rather just like prevent the damage naturally at the end of the game. So like Lucario can take its final KOs, which does make a bit of sense. Like if you need an extra turn maybe to find Premium Power Pro, just to like, finish off the game, I guess. But yeah, it seems like a very solid list overall. I do like the inclusion of things like Town Store as well, just to be able to guarantee the A spec. And, you're not running Arvin or anything. Like the days of Arvin seem to be long gone with some of these megas. But yeah, seems like a very solid list overall. I'm looking forward to trying this one out. Next up is we have a bit more of a techie-based build, running the dreaded Pheasantipity, which I'm not like super hyped about, but it is running the new Excadrill EX from Black Bolt and White Flare. Now, this is kind of interesting because we do have a Drillbur in Standard that says when you bench it, you can search your deck for up to 3 fighting energy cards and discard them. So natural synergy with Aura Jab, and then Excadrill EX does 60 damage for 2 fighting, and then a 60 damage snipe to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon that has any damage counters on it. So honestly, Excadrill could be quite a nice like KO option in the late game. Like maybe you've poked something with Aura Jab, your opponent retreats quite early on the game, but then later on you want to finish them off or something. Or like maybe you could even include Hawlucha in the list, or like maybe you attack something with Hariyama and do 210 to it. That's not quite enough to finish it off. Things like that. So, or even like setting up KOs for Mega Brave. So yeah, I like Excadrill X actually. It's kind of interesting. I have seen another list. It was also running like a 2-2 line. So it's obviously got believers over in Japan. But like, I'm not personally sold on Excadrill X, but I still think it's a really cool option. And the Drillbur especially is really cool. So yeah, gets a thumbs up for me for creativity. Also playing 2 Bosses Orders and a 2-2 line of Hariyama, which is interesting. And the Prime Catcher. So definitely going for those snipe KOs. I guess you could also like lean into Excadrill sniping Pokemon with Prime Catcher and like KO some smaller Pokemon maybe, Could be a nice option, maybe with some Devolution, I guess, but like yeah, maybe not TM Evolution actually, because there's no Arvin in these lists, but yeah, seems like a pretty solid list overall. I'm not sure how to feel about all the gusting though. I don't know if you need all this gusting, but yeah, it seems like a very consistent list if you don't mind your Pheasantipity being sniped, Like aside from that though, I think it's a really cool list. Next up, though, is we have, I do apologize for this blurry list here. It's sadly the only way to find more Lucario decks online. This one playing a 4-3 Lucario list, and then a 2-2 Hariyama, 2-2 Solrock, which we've seen before, 1 Pheasantipity, which I've seen before as well, but then also playing this new Marshmallow for some reason. So for 2 fighting energy, Marshmallow, which is its name, has 90 HP, and Shadow Kick does 60 damage. And if your opponent's Pokemon is knocked out by damage from this attack, then prevent all damage and effects of attacks done to Marshmallow during your opponent's next turn. So, interesting. I guess you like Mega Brave something and then finish them off with Marshmallow for like 2 or 3 prize cards, and then your opponent has to boss. And if you know they don't have boss, then it kind of buys you a turn. But like, I don't really see the value in that, to be honest. Like, it doesn't seem super worth it. Like, I think I'd rather just stick to Lucario and like maybe Hariyama, like maybe make room for a Rose Energy or something like that. Try it out, But this list is actually also playing Hilda, which is worth mentioning. And was that Legacy Energy? Wait, what? I thought that was New Upper Energy for a second. I was like really confused, but no, okay, that is Legacy Energy. So I guess that's okay. That's interesting. So like 1 less price card. Yeah, that could like really stuff over your opponent. If you don't have to bench Fez, then you could turn Lucario into a 2-prizer anyway. So yeah, you could like force your opponent to KO a Lucario, and then like maybe a Marshmallow that doesn't give up a prize, and then like maybe a Hariyama or something. Like yeah, that's kind of interesting. Also playing 4 Lily, playing the Gravity Mountain, which you mentioned earlier. So with Premium Power Pro, you can very easily KO a Stage 2 EX, which is scary. So yeah, also playing Tourist Scenario. There is some Arvin in this list. Makes for a nice change. 2 copies if you're a fan of Arvin, but yeah, pretty solid list overall. I'm just not really sold on Marshmallow yet. Not really sold on it. Next up, though, is we have a Munkidori Cornerstone Ogerpon list. Don't want to spend too much time on this because I think everyone knows what Munkidori does at this point. But in case you're new to the game, you can move 3 damage counters from one of your Pokemon to one of your opponent's Pokemon if it has a Dark Energy attached to it. So, yeah, we can Crispin a Fighting Energy to Lucario, then put a Dark Energy in hand, put the Dark Energy on Munkidori. That seems absolutely fine. Also, some energy acceleration for Cornerstone Ogerpon, so that takes 3 energy to attack. So, like, you could Lucario the energy onto a Cornerstone, or you could just Crispin up to it, which is a really nice option. So, I do like the combos there. Like, Munkidori does make sense with Megas, to be honest, just because they're so bulky. It's unlikely that they're going to get one KO'd. So, like, Munkidori could be a really nice option just to, like, hoover up KOs that you didn't quite finish off. So, like, that's interesting. Like, overall, I'm not, like, the biggest fan of Munkidori right now, but I think that's because it's just a bit oversaturated in the game. Like, so many decks are running it. But overall, though, very interesting list. Like, if you're interested in Munkidori already and you enjoy it, then, yeah, I think this list will be for you. But yeah, thanks for watching. Honestly, not too much else to say about Lucario, but very consistent decks overall. I do think people will branch out and experiment, by the way, but I think earlier on people will want to keep things a bit more consistent. But yeah, thank you for watching. Let me know what you think about Lucario down below. And yeah, thank you for watching.